The forgotten signal, the darkness of deep space, was silent, endless, and eternal. For thousands of years, the Zorath explorers had searched the galaxy, mapping stars, scanning dead worlds, and looking for signs of ancient civilizations. Most missions were routine, boring, and predictable, but this mission was different. On the outer edge of the galaxy, their scanners caught something strange. A signal. It was faint, broken, and buried under millions of years of dust and cosmic noise. Yet it was still there, pulsing like a heartbeat. Captain Veron, leader of the Zorath expedition, stared at the glowing monitor. "This is impossible," he whispered. "This signal, it should have decayed long ago." The crew gathered around. The signal was unlike anything they had seen. It was far too advanced for the age it came from. Calculations showed it was older than their entire civilization. Who could have built this? One alien asked in a shaking voice. No one had an answer. They traced the signal to a dead planet orbiting a red star. The planet's surface was cracked and lifeless, the air thin and toxic. No life could exist there now. But the signal continued, calling out like an ancient whisper. The Zorath landing craft descended onto the broken ground. Dust rose like smoke as they stepped out in their protective suits. The air smelled of ash, even through the filters. The ruins appeared quickly. Towers long collapsed, walls buried under stone, symbols carved into broken metal. It was clear. A civilization had once lived here. But this civilization was different. The buildings were taller than anything the Zorath had ever seen. The materials stronger, fused with alloys they could not identify. The ruins seemed older than time itself. "Record everything," Captain Veron ordered. "We may be standing on the birthplace of the first ones." The crew nodded nervously. Stories of the first ones were legends in every alien empire. An ancient race that lived before all others, creators of knowledge, lost to time. Number. One had ever found proof, until now. Inside a broken hall, they found it. A wall still standing, carved with strange shapes. Not Zorath, not any alien script they knew. At first it looked meaningless, but then one young historian gasped. These look like faces," she said. And they were, dozens of faces, carved into stone. Smooth features, round eyes, short noses, strange mouths. They did not match any known alien species. They were something else. The crew stared in silence. The faces looked almost familiar, as if they were watching from the past. "What are they?" someone asked. The historian's voice was shaking when she replied, They look like the ancient myths describe. The old race, the ones who came before us all." Captain Veron touched the stone, his claws shaking. "These are humans." The word was like thunder in the room. Humans, a species long dismissed as fairy tales, spoken only in whispers, described in forgotten songs. Every alien culture had stories about them, but no one believed they were real. Yet here they were, carved into the ruins of a world older than any empire. "If this is true," one officer began, "then everything we know is a lie, Captain," Veron finished. Deeper into the ruins, the crew discovered more evidence. Broken machines, rusted weapons, fragments of star maps etched into metal. All pointed to one truth. This was not just a colony. It was a center of a vast empire, and that empire belonged to humans. The crew sent their scans back to the Zorath High Council. Within hours, the news spread like wildfire across alien space. Governments panicked. Scholars argued, religious leaders trembled, because if humans were real, if they were the true first ones, what had happened to them? And worse, were they still out there? The Zorath team did not stop. They dug deeper into the ruins, searching for the source of the signal. At last, in a cavern beneath the planet's surface, they found it. A machine still glowing after millions of years. Its core pulsed with light, humming with ancient power. Symbols were carved on its surface. It was not just a machine, it was a beacon, a message. Captain Varone approached, his hands trembling. With a soft hiss, the machine activated. A projection filled the air. The crew froze. A figure appeared, tall, strange, and powerful. Smooth skin, deep eyes, straight posture. It looked at them as if it could see across time itself. And then it spoke. The words were strange, alien, yet the translation systems worked. The voice echoed, "To those who find this, we were here first. We walked the stars when your kind still crawled. We are humanity, the elder race. Remember this truth." The crew fell silent, fear in every heart. The signal had not been random. It was a warning. Captain Varon's claws shook as he turned to his crew. Humans were here. Before us all, he whispered. No one argued. No one could. The ruins, the faces, the machines, the message, it was all true. The galaxy had lived in ignorance for ages. They had thought themselves the rulers, the builders of empires, the lords of the stars. But now they knew the truth. They were children playing in the ashes of giants. And somewhere, perhaps beyond the stars, those giants might still be watching. Asterisk, the discovery of the ruins shook the galaxy. But what the Zorath crew found next was even worse. The beacon had pulsed 3 times before shutting down again. No one understood why. Some said it was only an old machine running on its last breath of energy. Others feared it was Mara. Signals sent into the void, reaching ears that no alien wanted to believe still existed. But Captain Varon was not finished. If this is real, he told his team, then we must dig deeper. If humans truly walked here, there will be more proof. And he was right. They broke through stone corridors, drilling into the planet's crust where scanners showed hollow chambers. For hours, dust filled the air and echoes thundered through the ruins. Finally, the drill broke into an open cavern. The crew stepped inside. Their lights cut through the darkness, and there, hidden for millions of years, was a vault. The walls were black metal, still unbroken by time. Strange lights glowed faintly across the surface, as if the vault itself was alive. "What is this place?" one officer asked in awe. The historian, her voice trembling, whispered, "An archive." The vault opened slowly with a deep rumble. The doors were heavier than mountains, yet they moved with silent grace. Inside, the crew found rows upon rows of glowing panels, crystals, and strange data cubes. Unlike anything the Zoroth had ever seen. The historian touched one of the panels. At once, the chamber came alive. Holographic maps, images, and records filled the air in shimmering light, and the aliens gasped. The maps showed galaxies each marked with human symbols. Not just one empire, but hundreds. Stars linked with lines of travel, planets glowing with human colonies. This is not just a world, Captain Verne whispered. This was the center of something far greater. They played one record after another. Scenes of cities stretching across continents, towers taller than mountains, starships larger than moons, armies marching under banners with a single word: humanity, The Zoroth stood frozen. They had believed. Their empires were great, their fleets unmatched, but compared to this, they were nothing. They ruled everything, one alien whispered in fear. They were the first, another said, but not all of the records showed glory. Some were darker. Wars unlike anything the aliens had imagined. Worlds burning, fleets colliding, stars weaponized to destroy enemies. The humans were not just builders. They were destroyers too. They fought each other, the historian said softly. They destroyed entire civilizations. Their power was endless and dangerous. Captain Veron felt a chill run through him. If these humans were still alive, if they had ever returned, no alien race could stand against them at the end of one archive. They found something stranger. A human figure appeared, tall and proud. It spoke in an old tongue, but the translation systems worked slowly, pulling meaning from the ancient words. Children of the stars. The figure said, "You walked the paths we left behind. Know this, we are the first. We built the roads you travel, the skies you breathe. You may call yourselves empires, but you live in our shadow." The hologram paused, then continued, "Do not fear our absence. We are not gone, we are waiting." The crew looked at one another in silence. Back on their ship, reports reached the Zoroth High Council. Panic spread across the galaxy. Leaders met in secret chambers, their voices shaking. Some demanded the archives be destroyed, claiming the truth would shatter the order of the galaxy. Others wanted to study them, to learn the lost power of the humans. But none could deny the same thought. If humans were this powerful once, could they return? Captain Veron and his team returned to the vault. They searched deeper, hoping for answers in the lowest chamber. Locked behind 3 sealed doors, they found something different. A crystal sphere pulsing with dim light. The historian recognized it at once. "A message capsule," she said. "The last words of an ancient people." With great care, they activated it. The sphere projected one final warning. The younger races will rise. They will think themselves free. But remember, this humanity is eternal. When the stars burn low, when the galaxies tremble, we will return. And when we return, we will judge. The chamber fell silent. Even the hum of the vault seemed to fade away. Judge. That word alone sent shivers through the crew. The historian fell to her knees. They weren't just explorers. They weren't just builders. They saw themselves as the judges of the galaxy. Captain Veron clenched his claws, and now we live in their shadow. Every empire, every race, only children playing in ruins. When they prepared to leave the planet, something unexpected happened. The beacon in the cavern pulsed again. Only once this time. But it was stronger. The crew's instruments screamed with warnings. The signal was no longer just broadcasting, it was reaching out. "Where is it going?" an officer shouted. The historian's face turned pale. "It's not going anywhere," she whispered. "It's calling something here." Asterisk, the galaxy could not sleep. Every empire, every council, every leader was shaken by the archives of the humans. Some tried to deny the discovery. Others wanted to bury it. But rumors spread too quickly. Whispers passed from one species to another. The elder race was real. Humans walked the stars before us, and they might return. Most dismissed it as legend. But then, the stars themselves began to tremble. Captain Veron and his Zorath crew were already heroes or traitors, depending on who spoke. Some called them fools for uncovering the truth. Others saw them as prophets. But none of that mattered when the signal started. Every deep space observatory in the galaxy reported the same phenomenon, faint pulses of energy echoing from the void beyond the galactic rim. The pattern matched the ancient beacon's code exactly at first. Governments claimed it was a natural event, a trick of space. Nothing more, but then the ripples grew stronger. On the seventh day, the first ship appeared. It did not enter the galaxy, it awoke inside it, as if it had always been there, hidden, waiting. Sensors screamed as the enormous vessel emerged from the darkness. Black metal hull, edges sharp like blades, glowing lines of forgotten technology running across its surface. It was larger than any alien dreadnought, yet it moved silently, with a grace no modern ship possessed, and on its side, written in strange but undeniable script, was a single word: humanity. Across the galaxy, panic erupted. Fleets scrambled, councils shouted, and temples filled with worshippers begging their gods for protection. But nothing could stop what came next. One ship became two became 10, then 100. Ancient human warships reawakened, scattered across the galaxy, rising from long sleep. For millions of years they had rested, hidden in dead systems, cloaked beneath ruined planets, buried in forgotten moons. And now, the beacon's call had stirred them all. Captain Veron was aboard his cruiser when the first human transmission arrived. At first it was only static, a storm of sound. Then, slowly, a voice emerged. Calm, cold, too clear to be anything but real. "Children of the galaxy," it said, "you walk among the ruins of our work. You have taken our worlds, our skies, our fire. But never forget, we were here first." The crew froze. The historian gripped her chair, her eyes wide with terror. The voice continued, "We are humanity, the elder race. We return now to judge what has become of our galaxy." The Council of Worlds met in emergency session. Leaders screamed at one another in fear. Some demanded surrender, others demanded war. But the truth was clear. No fleet, no empire, no alliance had the strength to stand against even one of these ancient ships. The Zorith Admiral of War spoke with trembling words. "Our weapons cannot even pierce their shields. They are untouchable." The room fell silent. Meanwhile, more human ships awoke. Entire flotillas gathered around the edges of the galaxy, forming silent walls of steel and light. They did not fire. They did not attack. They only waited, as if measuring the galaxy, judging its children. On worlds across the stars, civilians panicked. Riots broke out. Priests preached that the gods had returned. Scholars whispered the truth. These were not gods. These were humans, and they had come to take back what was once theirs. Captain Veron's crew received another transmission. This time, it was not a recording. It was live. The screen flickered, and a figure appeared. A human. His skin was pale, his eyes sharp, his face strangely calm. His uniform bore the same word carved on the ships. "Humanity, you found our beacon," he said softly. "You opened our archives. You have seen what we once were." No one dared reply. The human's eyes swept across them as if weighing their souls. "Do not be afraid," he said. "We are not here to destroy. Not yet." The historian managed to whisper, "Why? Why have you returned?" The human leaned closer, his voice dropping into a tone that shook every heart. "Because the galaxy has forgotten who its masters are. In the following weeks, Alien fleets tried to shadow the human armadas. Some fired warning shots, desperate to show strength. The result was always the same: silence. The human ships ignored them, their shields absorbing every attack like dust on glass. But when one alien commander pushed a far, launching a full strike against a lone human vessel, Galaxy saw the truth. The human ship did not dodge. It did not run. It answered with a single beam of light. It cut through 30 warships as if they were paper. Then it fell silent again, waiting. The message was clear. Humans had returned, and they were untouchable. Back on the Zorath ship, Captain Varen stood at the viewport, staring at the silent human fleet. His crew trembled, their voices low with fear. "What do we do now, Captain?" one asked. Varen did not answer at first. His claws dug into the railing as he whispered, "We pray, because they have not yet decided whether we live or die." The galaxy held its breath. The human fleet, silent and unbroken, was moving toward the heart of alien civilization. Billions watched from every world, their eyes wide with terror. Armies prepared, but no one truly believed they could win. The Council of Worlds gathered in a desperate meeting. Panic filled the chamber. "They will destroy us," one leader shouted. "We must surrender before it's too late," cried another. But others were stubborn. "We will fight. Better to die free than bow to monsters." Monsters, that was what they called the humans now. But in their hearts, every alien knew the truth. Humans were not monsters. They were something far worse. They were the first. On board his ship, Captain Varen stood in silence as the human fleet advanced. His historian companion whispered beside him, "This was never invasion, it is judgment." Varen turned to her sharply. "Judgment? For what?" She swallowed. "For stealing their galaxy." The alien fleets gathered at the capital system, millions of ships forming a wall of firepower. It was the largest armada in galactic history. Every race, every empire had joined forces. They had no choice. But when the human ships entered the system, something strange happened. They did not fire. Instead, they spread out, forming a circle around the capital world. A massive ring of black steel, glowing with strange energy. "What are they doing?" Varen whispered. The historian shook her head. "They are not here to fight. They are here to test us." Then, across every channel in the galaxy, the human voice returned, calm, steady, unstoppable. "Children of the stars, we are humanity. We were the first to master the void, the first to bend galaxies to our will. You live in the ruins of our work. Now we ask only one question." The voice paused, as if to let the galaxy tremble. "Are you worthy of what we left behind?" The aliens looked to each other in confusion. Worthy? What did that mean? The historian trembled. "It is a trial. They want to see if we are strong, enough to survive, or weak enough to erase." Suddenly, the human fleet released a wave of energy. It spread across space like a storm, touching every ship, every world, every creature. No one died. No one burned, but every mind felt it. Images flooded their thoughts, betrayals, broken oaths, every crime their species had committed, every weakness, every cruelty. The aliens screamed in terror as their own sins were laid bare before the elder race. On the Zoroth ship, Captain Varen collapsed to his knees. His mind burned with visions of his people's past. Conquests, slavery, worlds stripped bare. He could not hide. The humans saw everything. And then the voice returned. "You have built much, but you have destroyed more. You have learned to fly among the stars, but not to protect them. You are children still, fighting over toys you cannot understand. The aliens wept. Entire worlds fell into silence, crushed beneath the weight of their judgment. But then the voice changed. It was softer now, almost sorrowful. Yet in your hearts we see something familiar. Struggle, pain, hope. Once we too were children. Of war, we too burned worlds and broke empires. And from that fire, we became something greater. The historian gasped. They are not here to destroy us, she whispered. They are here to remind us. The human fleet moved closer. One of their great ships descended toward the alien capital world. Every defense system locked onto it, ready to fire. But no one dared give the order. The ship landed gently, as if mocking the entire galaxy's armies. Its ramp opened, and a human stepped out. Not a hologram, not a recording. A real human, flesh and blood, walking under alien skies for the first time in millions of years. The crowd of alien leaders stared in stunned silence as the figure approached. His steps were calm, his presence overwhelming. When he spoke, his voice carried without machines, as if the galaxy itself bent to listen. We are not gods, we are not monsters, we are humans, the first children of the stars, and now we have returned not to rule you, but to watch you. He raised his hand toward the sky, where the endless fleet hovered like judgment made real. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. We could end you in a single breath, but instead we give you a chance. Prove yourselves. Grow beyond your wars. Or when we return again, there will be no warning. The chamber shook with silence. No one spoke. No one moved. For the first time in galactic history, every species knew the same fear and the same truth. They were not rulers. They were not masters. They were children living in a galaxy that belonged to someone else. And the elder race had just reminded them. When the human left, his ship rose back into the sky. The fleet turned as one, their engines blazing like suns. Slowly, silently, they drifted back toward the edge of the galaxy. And then, as suddenly as they had come, they were gone. For weeks, the galaxy remained in shock. Worlds were quiet. Wars paused. Even pirates and raiders hid in silence. No one wanted to test the wrath of the elder race. On his ship, Captain Veron stared into the stars. Will they come back? One of his crew asked softly. The historian answered with trembling words. They never left. They are watching. Always watching.